Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about how it all starts with one man, and that is Ron Rivera. We're going to talk about Ron Rivera's struggles not only this year, but his last 2 years here as well, and what the future holds with Ron Rivera and this regime. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Also hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on that notification button so you never miss a video. So, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, it's Snyder. Of course, Ron Rivera is a problem, but it all, comes down to Snyder. And I agree with that, but we know Snyder, more likely than not, is not going anywhere for a long time. Rivera, though, on the other hand, could. Also, appreciate all the birthday wishes from yesterday. Got so many of those comments, couldn't respond to all of them, but really do appreciate that. And I think over almost 100 people subscribed yesterday, so really appreciate that. Trying to get to 9,000 subscribers soon. Alrighty, so we had to stop real quick to put up the flag again. Hopefully it doesn't fall. Got it today, so gonna permanently put it up, but just wanted to put up real quick for today's video. So of course, the Commanders lose again, are 1-4 to start out the year. Another terrible start to a season under Ron Rivera teams. And real quick before we just I just go in on Ron Rivera, I want to give a few more thoughts on the game yesterday. So I was just really upset yesterday, and I was just kind of blaming it all on Rivera. And at the end of the day, it is all on Rivera. He's the one who put these players on the field. He's the one who's coaching them, who brought in the GMs, everyone. So it's all on him. But in terms of the game, I think a lot of it was on him because of the clock management at the end of the first half and the terrible challenge he had on the Cam Sims catch. Clear incompletion. I could tell when it was live that it was an incompletion, but of course he challenges, doesn't even really take a look at the play, just challenges. They could have waited a little bit. And made sure had their guys take a look at it. But no, Ron wants to just challenge it. And sorry if I sound a little congested, because I am a little bit sick. It is what it is though. But that was a bad play. And then he also called a timeout like 6-7 seconds, or like 5 to 6 seconds after the play was over. Wasted 6 seconds that really could have been useful at the end. Maybe they could have ran the ball. And then also that challenge really killed them, because it made it really hard for them to run the ball at the end of the game because of the no timeouts and only 19 seconds. And it made you way more one-dimensional, so the defense knows, and they're dropping 9-10 players. And then Scott Turner also, I just didn't feel like he did a good job. I would have liked at least one target at the end there to be to Terry on like a fade route or an out route or something like that. Just give the ball to Terry. Give the ball to your best player on offense. And then they could have ran it. If they really wanted to, first down would have been the down, but I think it would have been tough. I'm not really going to blame Scott on that one. That's on Ron. I think if they would have had a timeout, they would have ran the ball. But now just talking about Ron Rivera, this is yesterday, said, this is not going to happen overnight. True, takes time to build a sustainable winner, but this is a group ascending? No. They were 7-9, then 7-10, now 1-4. 2 first-year head coaches are 4-1. And then Sirianni in year 2 is 5-0. And, Mike McCarthy, who I don't think is that good of a coach, well, they're 4-1 with their backup quarterback getting them all 4 wins. And the Giants, the Giants are 4-1. They are 4-1. And you know why? Not because of the roster they have, because of coaching. The coaching has improved this team so much. You could argue their roster right now is worse than it was at the end of last year, not because of they don't have more talent. The amount of injuries they've had the last few weeks is insane. Their leading receiver last week was a practice squad elevation for this week. They had a bunch of end injuries this year, just so many injuries, and they are 4-1 because of coaching. Because of coaching. Coaching is getting them in, players in the right position, developing them more. It's just not happening here. There's no excuses. Ron Rivera today was asked, I started the video, then stopped a little bit to watch the press conference. He was asked, other teams in the division are having success, but you aren't. Why is that the, case? And he's like, his response is quarterback. That's all he says. And then Matthew Paris, shout out him because I thought that was a good question. I thought he should have been asked, more tougher questions like this one. And Matthew Perez says, well, the Cowboys have Cooper Rush. And, Dak Prescott was hurt, and he's, 4-1, or he's 4-0 with the Cowboys. So, I thought that was a good counter by Matthew Perez. And then, Rivera just gave a BS answer. And then the Giants, they have Daniel Jones, not a franchise quarterback. He's not terrible, but he's not great. The coaches have gotten him much better. And I wish Rivera was able to do that with this staff or with this team. And I wish this staff was able to develop some of these players. I wish he was asked about his clock management yesterday and the challenge, because that really, really frustrated me. But at the end of the day, this is Rivera. Like, obviously, really, at the end of the day, it's Snyder, but that's not changing anytime soon. But Rivera, he brought these players in, he brought these coaches in, he brought the scouts in, he brought the executives in, he brought everyone in. This is all on him. Of course, if they, this season is on him, but also this game yesterday I thought was on him as well. He just brings in guys he likes. And let me bring up the tweet from EB. I'm not a huge, EB fan. So I like some of his takes, some of them I don't. But this is what he said. I'm asking Ron again to please tender your resignation. He's failing this team in too many areas. Personnel decisions seem like they're a bit more based in personal connections versus finding the best available. Time management is brutal. Coaching scared. No innovation. Please resign. And honestly, I think this is a spot-on tweet. No innovation. I don't know how old he is. I think he's like 60 or something. He's old. The thing is, some people that are older though still have an innovative mind in terms of NFL coaches. They still think differently than other guys, but Ron Rivera is stuck in his old ways, doesn't like to change, the analytics, anything like that, and it's just really, really frustrating. The contract restructures by the front office doesn't really happen. Maybe that's because, Snyder's not liquid, but maybe it's just because they're, not very creative. And then the, signing bet, it seems so obvious. And, it's sad when people, normal fans, are like, okay, you got to do this, this, and this, and they don't do that. And if they would have done that, it would have worked. Just guys that we've been saying this time for so long that they didn't, or players we were saying that need to play this position, like Landon Collins at linebacker. It took them 4 or 5 weeks to do, and it was 4 or 5 weeks too late because they could have used Landon Collins at linebacker versus safety earlier than week 4, week 5. So many guys, positions that were obvious needs this offseason that they didn't address, like linebacker depth, cornerback depth, edge depth, interior line depth. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything about it. And it's just so obvious. They bring in the same guys to the practice squad and to the training camp. The guys that are like 60 to 90 on the roster, because you can have 90 players in a training camp. So the guys that are like 60 to 90, almost all of them were there the year before or are undrafted free agents. But Ron Rivera loves to bring in the same guys: Danny Johnson, Corn Elder, Jonathan Williams, Troy Apke, a lot of guys that played for Carolina. And it's like, guys, they're not really going to do much. They've been on the practice squad or just not contributing for a reason. They are not it. You don't need to bring in the same guys every year. Bring in, the Eagles, they signed Trey Sermon. They used a claim on Trey Sermon. And do they really need him? Not necessarily, but he's a third-round pick from last year. He's got a lot of potential, very low risk, possible high reward. I love those type of signings. A lot of players that fans were clamoring for them to sign this year, this offseason. They were signed by other teams and they've been playing well. Anthony Barr by the Cowboys. JPP. Some people were saying to sign him as an edge rusher. Well, I think he had a big sack yesterday for the Ravens, and it's just unfortunate, man. It really, really sucks. Rivera's just not innovative. He's very stubborn in his ways. And yeah, I'm so done with Ron Rivera, Scott Turner, Jack Del Rio. Even though Jack Del Rio's been better the last few weeks, this last game, of course, was not on the defense. Besides by McCain, the defense played pretty well for the most part, and you can't blame this last game on the defense. But still, don't think Jack Del Rio needs to be here. Bring in a totally new staff. I don't think it's going to happen, guys. I don't think it's going to happen this season. I really, really, really hope it happens after the season's over, but I'm not sure. Snyder might just be, unless it's really bad. If they win 3 games or 4 games or less, then I think Snyder's just going to be like, okay, there's no way I can keep this guy and still keep support of the fans. But if it's like 5 or 6 wins, I think unfortunately Snyder will keep Ron Rivera, or there's a solid, okay chance, maybe like a 40-50% chance that Snyder just keeps Rivera. And I just do not want that to happen. And also with Rivera, they hire a new coach. There's a few things I would want in a new head coach. First, be under 50, unless it's Sean Payton or an elite, guy. I don't want a guy that's 55, 60 years old, because a lot of those guys are stuck in their old ways. And And another one, I would rather have an offensive mind than a defensive guy. That's just me. It's not like necessarily a requirement. There's still some guys I like, but I would rather have an offensive mind. Like I like Byron Leftwich. Ken Dorsey would be an option. Not sure. I think he's a little bit on the older side. Not sure. Not completely sure, but he would be an option. And then I'm trying to think of who else. Maybe people are talking about the Lions offensive coordinator. He would be an option, even though I think they just got skunked in this game. I'm trying to see. Ken Dorsey's 41, so that's not bad at all. 41 is a very good age for an NFL coach, so I would like that. But first, bring in a GM. Let the GM run things. Let the GM, we need a real GM. So bring in a GM, let him run things. Maybe Adam Peters from San Francisco, who a lot of people really like. I would love for the Commanders to get him. It's so early to talk about this, but unfortunately, it's probably what we're going to be talking about the rest of the season and definitely the first couple weeks of the offseason until we find out what's truly happening. Really unfortunate way that game ended yesterday, because things could be different right now if we would have won that game. I'm really sick of Rivera, and I hope they move on from him. Matt Rule was fired today. Hopefully the Commanders follow suit sometime. But yeah, subscribe if you guys are new. Would make me feel a lot better if you guys did get to 9,000 subscribers soon. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and peace.